The fog over Santa Carla doesn't just obscure the view. It tastes like a tomb. This is a world where the 1980s neon dream died in a throat-tearing scream, replaced by an era of Gothic industrial slavery. The camera sweeps low over the black Pacific waves, crashing against the skeletal remains of the Ferris wheel. The lights are gone. In their place, massive brimstone braziers burn with a sickly green flame atop the pier, manned by thralls, humans with hollowed-out eyes and branded necks. At the center of the devastation sits the Hudson's Hotel. It didn't just fall, it was pulled into the earth. Dr. Anna Reed watches a monitor inside a shielded van. The thermal feed shows a pulsing heat signature 300 feet below the rubble. It looks like a heartbeat. The delta is spiking. Her assistant, Chun, whispers, "That's not seismic activity," Anna says, her voice trembling. "That's a respiratory rhythm." Suddenly, the screen glitches. A face, pale, ancient, with eyes like cracked rubies, flickers in the static for a microsecond. The ground heaves. Not an earthquake, but a localized eruption of soil and shadow. From the center of the ruins, a long, thin hand with elongated, yellowed nails thrusts through the concrete, clutching a stone that weeps dark, viscous liquid. The Bloodstone has returned to the surface. He finds them. Hundreds of vampires from the tribe are suspended from the ceiling in a state of mummified stasis, wrapped in what looks like charred silk. But they aren't the masters here. Flint watches in horror as a figure in a tattered, medieval cowl, Radu, walks among them. He drips the weeping blood from the Bloodstone onto their desiccated lips. One by one, they hiss awake. Their eyes aren't the golden yellow of David's pack. They are turning a bruised, demonic purple. The transition is beginning. Radu croaks, his voice sounding like dry parchment rubbing together. The American line is weak. "We shall refine them with the fire of the old world." The sun rises, but it is strangled by a localized supernatural eclipse. The sky is a bruised charcoal. A red mist rolls off the ocean, solidifying on the cliffs. Circe, the red demon witch, steps out of the vapor. She wears robes of flayed leather and carries a staff topped with a wolf skull. She kneels before a massive, silver-lined pit. Inside, dozens of massive, muscular figures are chained to the floor. These are the Alphas, the leaders of the West Coast packs. They are in midshift, trapped in a state of agony between man and beast by Circe's sorcery. "The moon is dead, little dogs," she sneers, dropping a handful of crushed brimstone into the pit. The wolves howl in a frequency that shatters the glass of the nearby luxury condos. "Your blood is the mortar for our new kingdom." Shane Powers, a high-ranking vampire lieutenant under David, walks through a converted meatpacking plant. Instead of cattle, werewolves are shackled in specialized silver cages that pulse with electricity every time they try to shift. They are being drained, not of life, but of their alpha essence. This glowing, iridescent marrow is being bottled and sent to the subspecies, elders, to grant them the ability to walk in the hazy daylight. Shane stops in front of a cage holding a massive, scarred alpha. "Don't look at me like that, Rex," Shane mocks, lighting a cigarette. "The hierarchy changed the night the hotel fell. You're just batteries now. High voltage, furry batteries." He turns as a shadow looms over him. It's David. He looks different. Older, colder, his leather jacket fused to his skin by ancient magic. "Radu wants the next shipment doubled," David says. "Or he starts feeding on our own tribe." Radu sits on a throne of twisted rebar and bone, holding the Bloodstone over David's chest. The stone bleeds directly into an open incision over David's heart. "You are a prince of a small town," Radu whispers. "I will make you a king of the abyss." The camera enters David's bloodstream. We see the vampire cells being overtaken by black, oily subspecies pathogens. His DNA is being rewritten by King Vladislaus's ancient lineage. Outside the cellar, the enslaved alpha pack begins to howl in unison, not a cry of war, but a mournful dirge. They feel their predator status being stripped away. The screen fades to black as David's eyes snap open. They are no longer human, no longer vampire, but something demonic. The moon is full, but for the first time in history, the wolves aren't shifting, they're screaming. The Great Lunar Eclipse, engineered by Circe the Red Witch, has frozen the lunar cycle. For the enslaved alphas, this is a biological catastrophe. We follow Fenris, a captured pack leader, as he experiences locked shift syndrome. His bones are snapping and resetting in a continuous loop, unable to complete the transformation. Radu watches from a balcony of bone, sipping from a chalice of alpha marrow. He isn't just watching them suffer, he's harvesting the kinetic energy of their failed shifts. Inside the LYC lab, where the Lost Boys turn gore into a corporate commodity. The tension peaks when a quality control check by David reveals a batch of tainted blood. The punishment? Shane is forced to choose one of his own tribe members to be fed to the pit, a dark hole where the most degenerated subspecies lurk. Dr. Anna Reed, now a conscripted scientist under the Red Witch's thumb, is forced to perform a live vivisection on a sedated alpha. She discovers the Brimstone pathogen, a demonic virus introduced by Radu that acts like an autoimmune disease for lycanthropes. It doesn't kill them, it unknits their healing factor. Anna realizes the horrifying truth. The vampires aren't just winning a war, they are deleting the werewolf species from the evolutionary tree. She hides a vial of the pathogen, the first spark of a human-led biological counterstrike. The boardwalk is gone. In its place stands a smart city for the undead. Human blood donors walk the streets in a trance, treated like high-end livestock. We see the social hierarchy. The elders, Radu/Circe, living in the heights of the rebuilt Hudson's Hotel. The tribe, David's pack, the leather-clad police force on modified, silent motorcycles. The hounds, enslaved alphas used for heavy labor and border defense. The cattle, humans kept alive in comfort zones. The humans are back, and they've traded their wooden stakes for railguns and silver nitrate rounds. A high-octane tactical sequence. A team of elite mercenaries, the New Crusaders, led by a mysterious figure known only as the Hunter, rumored to be a descendant of the Van Helsings, infiltrates the necropolis. They don't use crosses. They use UV flashbangs and silver nitrate gas. The action is fast, gritty, and John Wick-esque. They manage to breach the slaughterhouse to rescue Fenris. However, as they reach the cage, they realize it's a trap. The alpha they came to save isn't an ally anymore. Radu's resurrection ritual has worked. Fenris's eyes glow with a demonic purple light. The alpha lets out a howl that sounds like a demon's laughter, and the Crusader steel begins to melt under a wave of brimstone fire. A brand isn't just a mark of ownership, it's a wireless tether to a demonic server. In the searing heat of the Brimstone Forge, Sussy performs the great branding. We see a line of broken alphas, their spirits crushed by weeks of silver toxin exposure. Circe doesn't use iron. She uses a finger dipped in the Bloodstone's liquid. As she draws a sigil on Fenris's chest, the liquid sears into his skin, glowing with a pulsing, rhythmic light. The cinematography uses thermal vision overlays to show the brand weaving into the wolf's nervous system. Fenris tries to growl, but his vocal cords are suddenly under Circe's remote control. She speaks, and the alpha's mouth moves in perfect, horrifying synchronization. The wolves are no longer a pack. They are a hive mind of puppets. The rock didn't fall from space. It was carved from the heart of a god. A cinematic flashback sequence, rendered in a desaturated, grainy 35mm style. We are transported to the Crusades, 1214 AD. We see a younger, human King Vladislas on a battlefield littered with thousands of corpses. He strikes a bargain with a shadowy entity, the First Shade. To save his kingdom, he must trap the collective agony of the dying into a single vessel. The Bloodstone is formed as the earth literally bleeds into a shard of obsidian. The twist? The stone isn't just a battery for power, it's a prison. Every soul the vampires have ever claimed is trapped inside, screaming in a silent, subatomic frequency. If the stone breaks, the psychic backlash would level the continent. What happens when a werewolf is forced to stay in mid-transformation for an eternity? We return to the present-day LYC lab. Dr. Anna Reed discovers a biological glitch. One of the alphas, a young female named Maya, has resisted the brand. Her body is stuck in a state of shape-shifting stasis, half human, half beast, with bone claws protruding through skin that refuses to heal or scar. Anna realizes Maya's blood is producing a natural anti-brimstone antibody. But there's a catch. To extract enough to save the others, Anna would have to keep Maya in this state of permanent, agonizing, transitional limbo. It's a moral trolley problem with fangs. Save the species by torturing the individual. Radu isn't the master. He's just the caretaker of a much larger hunger. Radu sits in the ruins of the Hudson's penthouse, staring into the Bloodstone. The stone begins to vibrate, and a shimmering, translucent figure emerges. King Vladislas. He isn't a physical vampire. He is a Wraith King, a consciousness that exists within the stone itself. Vladislas is displeased. He finds the lost boys, David and his tribe, to be perfumed pretenders. He demands a pure sacrifice to fully manifest his physical form back into reality. He sets his sights on David. The tension shifts. David, the cool antagonist we've known, realizes he is just a vessel for a medieval warlord. The hunter is becoming the prey. The geoengineering of an eternal night. The climax of the first half of the season. Radu and Cersei initiate the Obscura project. Using the heavy industrial smokestacks of Santa Carla, they begin pumping aerosolized brimstone into the upper atmosphere. The camera pulls back to a satellite view of Earth. We see a black, oily stain spreading out from the California coast, swallowing the sun. In the necropolis below, the vampires drop their hoods. They step out into the noonday dark, hissing in triumph. For the first time, they are the undisputed apex predators of the day. David looks up at the black sky, his eyes purple, his jaw tightening. He knows that once the sun is gone forever, he is no longer useful to Radu. From the human resistance camp in the hills, the only light left in a world of total eclipse. The vampires have won, and decadence is their downfall. The black sun has been in effect for 72 hours. Santa Carla is a citywide rave of the damned. We see the tribe David's boys spiraling into blood-drunk madness. They aren't just feeding, they are overclocking their senses with Alphamero cocktails. The cinematography uses SnorriCam cameras attached to the actors to create a disorienting, visceral experience of vampire intoxication. In the VIP lounges of the rebuilt Hudson's, Radu watches with disgust. He sees the tribe's hedonism as a weakness. To sober them up, he unleashes a subspecies harvester, a blind, multi-limbed monstrosity, to cull the weakest members of David's crew. The message is clear. Under Radu, there is no party. Only the harvest. A spiritual lobotomy via the Bloodstone. Cersei realizes the alpha antibody Maya is spreading. To counter it, she begins the soul-scaring. She uses the Bloodstone to physically pull the wolf spirit out of the alphas, leaving them as hollowed-out, muscular husks, biological robots. Dr. Anna Reed watches from the shadows, recording the frequency of the stone's vibration. She realizes the stone isn't just magic, it's a hard drive. If she can broadcast a feedback loop of the alpha's collective pain, she might be able to shatter the stone from the inside out. The first successful reversion, at a devastating cost. In the darkest corner of the LYC lab, Anna injects the raw, refined antibody into Maya. The transformation is a masterclass in ultra-realistic body horror. Maya's body rejects the brimstone in a violent, explosive surge. Her skin sloughs off to reveal silver white fur underneath. She becomes the first true alpha seen in a century, a creature of pure moonlight in a world of oil and smoke. But the process is terminal. Maya has only minutes of life left. She uses her final breath to let out a primal howl. This isn't a sound. It's a psychic blast that bypasses the ear and hits the brain. Across the city, every branded werewolf feels their chains crack. The hive mind flickers. The 80s biker goth aesthetic meets medieval hell in a high-speed chase. David makes his move. Realizing Radu plans to sacrifice him to resurrect King Vladislas, David betrays the subspecies. He steals the Bloodstone in a high-octane heist. The sequence is a cinematic masterpiece. David on his blacked-out motorcycle, weaving through the ruins of the boardwalk, pursued by Radu's shadow hounds. He meets the new Crusaders, the humans, in a tense enemy of my enemy alliance. "You want your son back?" David hisses, his face half vampire, half demon. "Then help me kill the monster who stole it." The final showdown where the Bloodstone breaks, and the world changes forever. The battle converges on the roof of the Hudson Hotel. It's a three-way war. Radu's subspecies versus David's rebels versus the freed Alpha Pack. Radu and David engage in a duel that defies physics, moving so fast they appear as blurs of black and purple light. As Radu prepares the final strike, Anna Reed triggers the feedback loop. The Bloodstone begins to glow white-hot. David drives a Crusader's silver nitrate blade through the Bloodstone while it's still in Radu's hand. The explosion isn't fire, it's souls. Thousands of years of trapped spirits scream out in a blinding flash. The black sun is ripped apart, not by light, but by the sheer force of the souls returning to the earth. When the dust settles, Radu is gone. David is gone. But the Alphas aren't just wolves anymore. The explosion of the Bloodstone has infused them with the vampire's immortality. The screen fades to a final shot of the Santa Carla horizon. The sun is rising, but it's a deep violet. The Alphas stand on the cliffs, looking down at the city. They aren't enslaved anymore. They are something new, something worse. The era of the Chimera has begun. Stay tuned for part 2.